We got the feds ramping up to start printing money all over again. People can't afford their housing right now. Vegas is still practically empty. Credit card debt has ballooned, with more people having trouble paying down their debts than ever. Grocery prices are absolutely out of control, and those layoffs are still happening. What's really going on in the economy? You gotta know. You're here. This is Steven. It's NLLV. Let's get it going right now. So basically what happened last week, if you're watching these sort of things, is that the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said, we're getting ready to print money again. That should actually matter a lot to you. You should be scared to death of this if you don't have all of your financial house in order. So Powell admitted that the feds are getting ready to end what's called quantitative tightening. And that's nerdy kind of economist talk for where we don't print any money.
Since June 2022, we've reduced the size of our balance sheet by $2.2 trillion, from 35% to just under 22% of GDP, while maintaining effective interest rate control. Our long-stated plan is to stop balance sheet runoff when reserves are somewhat above the level we judge consistent with ample reserves conditions. We may approach that point in coming months, and we are closely monitoring a wide range of indicators to inform this decision.
They're going to ease off and go into quantitative easing, which means print lots of money. And if you haven't noticed, that's exactly what happened during COVID-19, where they were trying to, save the largest economy in the world by just like flooding the market with dollars, giving out stimulus checks, making everything better. Why would they do this? It's going to destroy your bottom line when inflation kicks in, I'll tell you that much. Right, so this is happening because no matter what they do, the Federal Reserve, which has basically two jobs, full employment or best employment possible, plus lower inflation, they can't get things to work right now. I mean, the employment numbers are terrible. If you haven't been watching this channel, you're not subscribed, what the heck is wrong with you? We've been talking about it. Mass layoffs, we'll get to that in a minute, all across the country, and people are getting either automated out of their jobs, or their companies, their corporations are like, we need to post profits, we can't afford you, so we're going to tighten our belts. And so when they can't get that under control, they're taking all sorts of opportunities to do whatever they can, and that means printing money, which means huge inflation for you. Worse in places like Vegas, worse in your hometown. I mean, look at the fact that groceries are more expensive than ever. So that whole thing that we were supposed to have cheaper grocery prices, that's simply not happening. According to reports happening across the country right now, we've had the biggest increase in grocery prices than we've had for the first time in 3 years. Yeah, we got beef at record highs over the last 3 years. Coffee costing $1 more per pound than it did just in May, just in like the last 6 months.
Broadcasting, newscasters out here.
There's no podcasting, newscasting out here. Throw me a subscription because I deal with the crazies. That's a fun crazy. So the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, they're saying that things are just going to go up another 3% throughout the end of the year, and it could possibly go up even further. And when they just start printing money, this means that there's lots of dollars floating around, and things like groceries, things like cars, things like houses, things like clothes for your kids, all these things that you need, things like heating oil that goes into, your housing, utilities, these just get more expensive because when you have more dollars, the dollar tends to lose value. And when the dollar tends to lose value, you got to use more dollars to pay for the things. So how's your 401k doing? Are you in the markets? How's that working out for you? Because along with grocery prices striking up, we have credit card debts now at $1.1 trillion. Credit card debt is just ballooning. This is a thing that actually lowered significantly after COVID-19 because the government was just cutting free money for everybody. You get a check. They became Oprah Winfrey. You get a check. You get a check. You get a stimulus check. People were paying down their credit cards. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, everything is just right back up. So when your wages can't keep up with the costs of living and you want to buy food and groceries and things that your family absolutely depends on, or Christmas is coming and it's a birthday, or you got to go to Vegas or something like that, you end up whipping out your credit card. And your credit card is already clobbering you with high interest rates. Everything keeps getting more expensive. And now we're back where we were back when it was the worst it ever was. So ultimately then, be glad you're not in California, because California is being crushed. The mid-tier home payment in California hit $5,900 a month in June of 2025. Quick question for you in the chat, do you even make $5,900 a month yourself? That's your housing payment if you're in Cali, but it doesn't get much better across the country. Across the nation, there's a huge glut, 7.1 million shortfall for affordable housing for people all across the country. And there's a thing called I think it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And one of the most basic things on this pyramid, so you can move up in life, is having security in your housing and your food and your situation emotionally. And when you don't have that, that's where we get to people getting pushed to the edge and doing crazy things. I think we would reduce the craziness in life a little bit if we just were able to house people properly. What's actually happening with that is mind-boggling, because we're allowing it to happen, and it's all corporations. So you may not know this, but the biggest land and homeowner in your hometown may actually be a Wall Street hedge fund, like VC International, for example. And if you're curious about this on a Vegas scale, about how these casino companies are completely effed in the A, so to speak, proverbially speaking, about how they're not going to get out of the trap, I'm making a video on it this week, so subscribe to the channel for that. But what's happening in your hometown is simple. We have big giant corporations like VC International, hedge funds that come in and they buy thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of units, depending on the size of your town, homes, single-family residentials, condos, townhomes, and then they essentially set the rents. They set the rents to what they think the market conditions should expect, and you're left working 2-3 jobs, trying to Uber, DoorDash, trying to Amazon delivery, trying to work your day job, just so you can pay your bills every month. It's a trap that's set up by these corporations who are trading on Wall Street, laughing at you all the way while they lower interest rates and turn on the money printer. And the question is, like, what are you doing about it? So, like, I tell you what I do about it is, as you know, if you've watched these videos, I get up and I trade those markets. I trade NASDAQ futures on the markets. I've been doing it for some time, and to keep this channel free of outside advertising and free of you wondering if I'm getting paid by these hotels to ever say nice things about them, I created my own course, my own program for all this called 1K a day. Let me ask you a question, though. If you could get up in the morning or before bed, just look at a chart and maybe make 50 bucks here, potentially 100 bucks there, little base hits, little ways. Maybe you could pay a bill or two possibly with this. Like, would that be life-changing for you? Would that help you out in any way? And if that's the case, if you want to potentially do something like that, I got a good deal for you guys. Listen up. For the first 10 people watching this video, I want you guys to head on over to 1kaday.diy and type the code 11 at checkout. And it's going to give you 90% off for the first 10 only of my course. And you're going to learn everything for $199, lifetime membership access, less than the price of cost of AirPod Pros, by the way. And what you're going to learn is, how the market ebbs, how it flows, how you can look for the same 2 to 3 things that happen every single day, so you guys can potentially change your lives for the better. 1kaday.diy, code 11, and you can become my students. And make sure when you're in the course, you get to that level where I tell you how to reach out to me, email me. I want to have a one-on-one meet and greet through email with you guys too. Because if you guys don't do something, you're just going to be caught up in the layoffs eventually. Because the layoffs, we talk about it every week, they haven't stopped. It's still really bad. So close to 159,000 people have lost their jobs so far in 2025. A lot of it is due to AI automation. A lot of it is due to the economy being tighter and these companies needing to literally wring every cent out of every dollar that they make in profitability. But even Amazon is seeing hits. Like 13% of all of the managers at Amazon are getting laid off. Microsoft, as we've talked in a previous video here on these weekly news updates, have seen hits in their managerial departments too. So if you guys were aspiring to be a manager in a company, it looks like those are some of the highest paid positions that are just going bye-bye, just getting out, especially the tech sector. The tech sector is being destroyed by AI, automation, H-1B visas, all these things that everybody told you wasn't going to happen. It's completely happening now. And so then in theory, what should be happening here is the money printing machine that gets turned on. The interest rate cuts should help profitability of corporations and companies. But in reality, I think what's happening here is that these companies that basically give you great service before COVID-19 and lousy service since COVID-19, they realize that you as a consumer have very little choice in the marketplace, especially for some of these services like Amazon, for example. And instead of actually increasing people and increasing hiring when their profits get better, they just let you live in the new norm. They let you live in that area where you're not getting good service. Let me ask you a question in the chats. I want to hear your comments. And I think it's a legit question. How has your service been when you've gotten a product or service now compared to what it was during the pre-COVID era? Is it getting better for you? Is it getting worse for you? Do you notice that these companies just don't seem to give a darn anymore? I mean, if it's been worse, it's no doubt. These companies have been restructuring and laying people off for the last 5 years straight. You're just not seeing it unless you watch channels like this, which is why you should probably be subscribed to me here if you haven't done so yet. And as these companies have lower interest rates, better financials, they're not hiring new people, because I think what's happening is we're just used to the suckitude and we're taking it as a consumer base. And if you really need me to prove it's profits over people, check this out. U.S. corporations in 2024 posted $3.6 trillion trillion dollars in profits. That's actually way more than they were doing before COVID. But way more isn't a number. So how about we put a number on it? It's an 80% increase. 80% increase over what these same corporations did in the year 2020. 80% increase. Meanwhile, you're losing your job. You're being automated out. Your hours are being reduced. In Vegas, it's actually terrible. We're going to do a full standalone video on this coming up in the next few weeks. But out here, there's people who are waiting weeks to get shifts at these hotels. And you're not really hearing about the story because they're afraid of getting called out for it. So there's not a lot of whistleblowers out here. It's not being widely reported, and I need to do a deep dive investigation, which I do on Vegas stuff on Wednesdays every week on the channel. But there is a lot of furloughing happening right now in the local workforce, especially here on the Las Vegas Strip. Social media reports people who are anonymous that can't come forward saying that they've waited weeks to get shifts, whereas they used to be full-time and they used to get lots of tips. And these service industry jobs used to be things that you could send your kids to college on if you just worked hard enough into management. And now the management jobs are going away, with last year the Venetian firing massive amounts of their managers and in a desperate attempt to cut back. Yeah, look, if you guys like this analysis, make sure you do subscribe if you're even 1% smarter, because at the end of the day, it's your money, right? Like, what are you guys going to do about it? Because if you take a message out of this, this is the message I want you to take. You can either be part of the rich that get richer, or you can be stuck in place in the same gear down here. But these people down here, they're just going to find it harder and harder until they finally throw up their hands and arms and ask the government for some sort of assistance. And I know that's not you. So go ahead and learn a skill. If you're thinking about going back to school, local community college takes 2 years, just do it. Stop saying, but it takes 2 years. Because if you said that 2 years ago and you actually did the thing, where would you be today 2 years later? You'd be on to greener pastures. You would have learned the skill. Heck, take my course if you guys want to. It takes a lot less time than 2 years. You could burn through the entire thing in a week and learn a skill. Yeah, you guys could know how the markets work. 1kday.diy, code 11, 90% off. You know the drill from earlier on. But if you don't do something, you're just going to be stuck here with hopium that things are going to turn around, and with, you know, the same people, the same politicians promising you the same things over and over, while the same companies are still taking advantage of you. So do something good with your life. If you guys like this video, like, share, subscribe. Be sure to come back for more. We do deep dives into Vegas on Wednesdays. We do these videos on Mondays, and I think we're going to add another video on Fridays just for the heck of it. Once again, my name is Steven. This is NLLV. I appreciate you guys watching. You've been the best part of my day. And I'll say 3, 2, 1, click. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, and click.